Highway engineers and others come to town, make them very unwelcome and fight everything they're trying to do. And those Division of Highway engineers and folks like that go to other communities, I often joke they're welcomed with a marching band and a town greeting. They're a city to town hall, and we have people up here that when they come, it's like they're coming in almost to a guillotine. And that has caused the Division of Highways to shy away from our community. And I'm referring to years ago. I'm not being critical of last year, the year before, but I'm talking years ago. I'll give you an example, the West Run Expressway. Anybody travel on West Run? Barely wide enough for one car, maybe 1.5, okay? Years ago, we tried to get a West Run Expressway built. And Barbara Fleschauer and others in the community opposed that project and fought, and every time the Division of Highways came up here, they were met with opposition. We had a user fee program that was going to do hundreds of millions of dollars in road construction. Barbara Fleschauer and others interfered with that project and ended up stopping that from occurring. So we need to send people to Charleston who will be pro-growth, support the kinds of changes and infrastructure that we need to enable our community to provide you the kind of service that you should have. And if we continue to send people who fight with our Division of Highways instead of build relationships with them, we'll continue to have the poor results that we've had during the past several years. I went when the Division of Highways came to town with the governor earlier this month and spent some time with them. I spent some time with the county highway supervisor, the state secretary of the Department of Transportation. I had a small request. I said, I see people almost wrecking every day on boroughs. Can you please get out there and fix boroughs? On Thursday, they did that. My mother taught me you can get a lot more with honey than vinegar.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Carly. Our second question, we'll start with Mike this time and then lead to Carly. For our second question, what can be done to attract new, high-paying jobs to West Virginia and Monongalia County?
You know, I've been around this issue for a long time. I served on the State Senate Economic Development Committee. I served on, actually chaired the Senate Small Business Committee. And we tried to address the major issues that impact businesses when they make decisions. And I get a little bit tired sometimes when people talk so much about what can we do to attract other people to bring businesses here. Our initial responsibility is to help our existing businesses grow. And where we fail sometimes in that area is we don't provide them the basic public service that they need. We don't provide them safe roads and bridges. We don't provide them an education system that produces people who can work in their businesses. We don't provide them the quality of public safety that they need to be able to do business. Talked to a business person downtown, said, hey, we just can't continue to do business here. It's just too dangerous for our employees when they leave. So basic government services are a must, and we're not hitting the mark in that area, and that's something we have to do. I'm not a big fan of all the tax credits and all the gimmicks. I don't believe it's the role of government to pick the winners and losers in business. I think we should create a level playing field where entrepreneurs can excel and succeed based on their own merits and not necessarily have the government pick who gets an advantage and who doesn't. So those are some of the things that I'll focus on. Basic state government services, creating a fair and level playing field. I, as a state senator, voted to remove the corporate net income tax from 9% down to 6.5%. I voted to remove the business franchise tax, which was a huge impediment in businesses in West Virginia being able to grow. I often think of our northern panhandle as like a buffet line. You know, the northern panhandle in some places is only 3 or 4 miles wide. So if you're a business person and you're looking at Ohio, West Virginia, and Pennsylvania, it's kind of like you're going through a buffet line and you're going to pick one of those 3. And we better have our incentives in a proper manner so that they'll pick us. Because over 60% of our population is in a border county in West Virginia. And so we can't be naive to what's going on around us in those 5 other states. So I look for basic services, level playing field, not a bunch of tax credits and gimmicks where government picks winners and losers, but we allow entrepreneurs to flourish and succeed.
Early, same question for you.
For high-paying jobs to attract business growth, I think a problem is that we may be looking at it, I like to look at it in a different way, because we have lost population. So it's difficult for businesses to grow when you don't have enough workers. And I like to really discuss the fact that people aren't having children in our state, not only in our state, but across the country. And I've seen studies where people who are in my generation, millennials and below, would rather have a dog than have children. And that's a serious problem, because even if our local businesses can grow, there's no people to fill the spots to increase their employee base and to grow their business. So that's a serious problem. And the family is the basis of everything. So if people aren't settling down, people aren't having children, then our state is going to slowly decline, which is what we have seen, because we lost a congressional seat from our last census. So I would want to promote young men and women starting their families, getting married, starting families in our state, and then encourage, like you said, Mike, local businesses to grow, and also invite other great entrepreneurs who have good ideas. They'll improve our state. But people aren't going to be able to grow their businesses if they don't have the workers, and we've seen that in several areas. And that's where I would want to begin, is to encourage people staying here, having their families, like my husband and I intend to do, and we pray that our children can stay here and have good, high-paying jobs. And another thing as well is I think that tax credits can be a good thing for businesses, not picking and choosing just across the board, like Mike said. And we need to make it easier for businesses to open, and so they can flourish. And I've talked to business owners where getting started is very difficult in our state. So I think maybe reviewing regulations, reviewing taxes, and decreasing those as well to encourage people to take that risk. The business is a risk, and they also need to know that they will have the workers to handle their clientele and to potentially grow.